Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Black and White United Show. I'm your host, Andreas. Thank you for tuning in with me today. In today's episode, we're going to preview our match against Melbourne with a bit of a twist. We're actually at the Collingwood Captain's Run this morning. Roll the intro.
0, 1. Let's get started.
So before we cut to some of the footage of the boys' captain's run today, what do I want to see in this game against Melbourne? The forward 50 entries is probably the most important thing that we've got going into this game. I think last week our forward 50 entries were a little bit disappointing, especially seeing someone like a Brody Mychek taking marks, close to like 50, 55 metres out, as opposed to taking them 20, 25 metres out and actually hitting the scoreboard. So our defensive transitions and stuff like that are good coming out of defence, but going into the forward 50 is probably the most important thing that we need to rectify in this game. Jeremy Howe is back, so we don't know the final changes just yet, which we'll probably know a bit later today. But the fact that we've got Jeremy Howe back, I do think the Jeremy Howe Ed Allen change is probably the most likely scenario in this game at the moment, or leading up to this game. And then obviously the other one too could be potentially Mason Cox coming in for somebody like a Dan McStay, which is a big possibility, but I'm sure we'll find that out within the next few hours, especially after the training runs, the captain's run is done today. So I'll cut to some footage now, and then we'll get back to the end of the preview. Hey, Lupa, got that? Yep. Okay, everybody. So that's training pretty much done and dusted for today. So they had some light run throughs. They did some goal kicking practice and then just some set plays from half back leading into the half forward. Some transitions, some switch, some cutback in the middle, which was quite interesting to see. Um, this game against Melbourne, obviously, I think it's a battle of the midfields. I mean, both forward lines have got their strengths. I think our back line's obviously going to match up really well against their forward line. Obviously, their back line with Stephen May being the biggest danger down back. I think though with our tools we should be able to cover, and then obviously with the pressure of the smalls running in, this game just screams Lockie Schultz for me. It screams Bo McCreary just causing absolute havoc. I mean, in the back of your mind, you're hoping that Melbourne are already thinking about their holidays and getting everything done and dusted. But at the same time, I mean, as a club that's not going to make the finals, you want nothing more than to wreck the opportunity of one of your rivals making the top four and stuff. So there's that element to it as well. I do think that we'll win. I think that, if we can just win the midfield battle in this one here, because their midfield's quite strong with Petrarca, Oliver, Viney, and then Gorn. Just the standard sort of midfield that they've always had for the past 5-6 years or whatever. But I do think that we've got enough strength in the midfield and enough options to rotate and obviously throw them a little bit out of whack to win those battles. But then from there you can win it out the middle. But then if you don't do anything with it, I mean, it all counts for nothing, and they'll hit you back on the transition going down into defence into their forward line. So the biggest thing there is we just need to win the midfield battle, win the clearance, and then just make sure that the delivery into forward 50 is nothing like last week. None of this hit and hope, none of this skyballing it up and just hoping that someone tall marks the ball. The teams will obviously be out pretty soon, but if McStay does get left out this time and Cox comes in and you've got that taller option up forward, you got to put it in front of his face so he can reach out and get it. Because if he doesn't take the mark, he's most likely going to get a free kick for chopping the arms or something. Draw the defender. And we haven't been able to do that because our delivery into the forward 50 last week was, and the last few weeks it's just been off. Even against Richmond in our last win, what's that, 3-4 weeks ago, the delivery was so off. We were just lucky that the opposition weren't more experienced enough to counter attack it. So if we win the midfield battle, the next part is obviously winning the next part is obviously winning or getting the clearance into the forward line correctly. Our back line will do its thing. I reckon Dan Houston's going to play up in the midfield. I've got this feeling he's going to play on the wing. I hope it's the same wing as Josh Dacos, because if he does that, he can just one side of the ground, just wreak havoc and let Steele and Crispy do their thing on the other side, So it's set up for a good win this weekend. I hope we do it. I hope we at least win this game and then give ourselves a chance to finish fourth and not lose it. And then no matter what happens, potentially finishing somewhere as low as eighth. Don't want that. You just want to get the win. And then if we have to rely on other results, that's our fault for this season. But regardless, let's get this win and let's put pressure back on the other teams and then hope something happens where we can potentially finish fourth, because I would love nothing more than to sit here in 2 weeks' time and say that we're going to face Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. I would love nothing more than to be in this exact spot and to say I can't wait for this first qualifying final. Nevertheless, let's worry about this game coming up tomorrow night. It's been great to get down to training. I hope you've liked this video. Make sure you tell me what you think. Make sure you drop a comment. Call it as you see it. And as always, go the Pies.